Just about perfect. Wow, how's that happen? I'm right on the radio and I'm right here on to Hull and Back podcast as well. Good evening to everybody. Thanks for joining us on Tiger Talk, sponsored by the carmusgo.co.uk. Really good to have them sponsoring us. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show. And if you have got a car that you need to sell, or you want to buy a car or sell a van or buy a van, then the carmusgo.co.uk. If you enter all the details on there, they'll give you prices and all that sort of thing. And you could just sell it to them, make it nice and easy for yourself. You don't have to mess about trying to sell it privately on Facebook and getting a load of tyre kickers round. Evening to you, James.
Good evening.
Evening to you, Jan.
Good evening.
Evening, Chris.
Evening.
And evening to you, Paul.
Good evening, Adey.
Hope you're all well tonight, and hope you're, enjoying life as being a Tigers fan. Maybe not so much after the last two games. We've been a little bit disappointing in the last two games, and two disappointing results. Yes, it's Chris. Is it Chris? Somebody's feeding back. I don't know whether it is Chris, actually. We'll talk in a minute. I'm just trying to see who it is. Is it James? No, it's Jan. Okay, Jan, we'll just mute you while we're not talking to you, and then I'll mute you when we're talking to you because it's you. Sorry about that, everybody. If you are watching us on the podcast, then basically you can comment and say hello to us on whichever platform you're watching us on, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitter. Have a comment on there. Let us know what you're thinking at the moment. And if you're listening to us on the radio, you can comment on 01482 772 663. Just WhatsApp us on there. We'll talk to you first, Jan. I'll just unmute you. Where are you coming from tonight, Jan?
Well, I'm coming to you from sunny Playa de las Americas in Tenerife. So we got home last night about 10:30. Last few bits and bobs in the cases, got into bed about 11, up at 1, down to the airport, and it was icy and all sort Manchester. In the air by 6:15, here by 12 o'clock, cracking. That's how to get over it. That's how to get over last night.
Definitely how to get over last night. Is it nice and warm across there, Jan?
Yeah, it's lovely. Absolutely lovely. I've still got my shorts on. John sat on the balcony watching, listening,
I came to your car because I had to pick up a couple of microphones last night, Jan. I wasn't very happy, was I?
You were very unhappy. I said, "Oh, Adey," I said, "you're going to have to temper it tomorrow night." He said, "I don't care." I thought, to be fair, Saturday was more annoying than last night. They're a good team, but last Saturday was very disappointing.
I've got a bit of a tendency to agree with you. I think Saturday, it looked like, we should have really got a draw out that game, I think, to be honest with you. I think it's poor defending, which we're obviously going to talk a bit about poor defending tonight because, let's face it, and we got the worst defence is second worst, I think, in the Championship. Is it Sheff Wednesday are worse than us, are they? But we've got the second worst defence in the Championship. So that is obviously our Achilles heel this season. We, most games are scoring goals. Last night, I don't think we scored because... I think that Carl Joseph, unfortunately, just ain't a goal scorer. I saw a comment last night from Ant Northgraves, who does the To Hull and Back podcast usually on a Sunday night on the main one, and he put that Carl Joseph, he never wanted it to work more for a player than Carl Joseph, but it just isn't working for him in the case that, his touch is poor and he's not scoring the goals, and he does a load of running, but that is the case, isn't it? We'll come back to you in a second, Jan, and then we'll come across to you, James. Evening to you, James. How did you find it last night?
As you said, I think it's a little bit more frustrating in the context of Saturday's loss. I think it'd be easier to take last night if it hadn't have been for the way we lost the game on Saturday. To be honest with you, it was just one of them games where it kept going on and on and on. You thought you didn't really feel like either team was going to score. Probably up until the 65th minute when Ipswich eventually did score. Obviously, that's from the substitution they brought on, which is an ex-Tiger we all know, who came on and changed the game for them. We just don't have that level of quality to bring off the bench, and it showed last night. And like you already made the point, Carl Joseph he just never is a number 9. I completely agree with both what you and Ant have said there. It's you can see the spirit and the heart every time he's out there on the pitch, and he leaves nothing out there. It's not for a lack of trying or anything like that. I mean, he as we've all said, 100 times already, he runs his heart out every single game. He leaves everything on the pitch, and unfortunately, he's got no end product, and his technical ability on the ball. I mean, to be fair, there was a little flick on he actually did for, I think it was for Ndala, which was a little bit impressive, to be fair.
Yeah, I remember that. That was quite a good flick.
So it's a little bit of passing ability from him there, but in terms of actually, striking at the goal or getting himself into the right position, I mean, I was talking to someone at work about it today, just the little through ball that Joffrey put through for him, and he just kind of stood there like a statue. And
yeah.
You wanted him to react to it before. Well, it's just about reading what you think Joffrey's going to do, and I don't know whether or not maybe he thought Joffrey was going to try and take a shot on himself or what, but it's like I said, it's just not working out for him, and I think too much is being put on Joseph realistically with him playing up front, and I get that Destin probably was being rested last night with him playing the last two games, but he does. And to be honest with you, on Saturday I wasn't really that impressed with Destin's hold-up play. He didn't really do much in the game up until the point of him scoring a goal. So it's
right place at the right time, though, which Joseph never seems to be in that right place at the right time, does he?
Yeah, no, like I say, he just never seems to find himself in the right areas. It's a couple of times he does. Obviously, he has scored. Is it 3 goals this season where it's been, well, I don't know. You can kind of count that one sort of against Birmingham. I know it went down as an own goal, but he sort of created the moment for it, didn't he? But yeah, he just never seems to find himself in the right positions. I just don't know what else that he can get coached into him that's going to give him that sort of killer instinct, which he just seems to lack.
Sergei said last night, Chris, that basically they have improved Joseph because he hadn't scored a goal before they come, and he has scored some goals now. So he said, we have improved him. I know that you're only here part-time tonight, Chris, because you're a bit of a part-timer on this podcast, but we'll let you have your say before you've got to go at 7:30.
Yeah, I mean, I've only heard it on the radio, and you could tell there was a bit of snigger and a smile on his face when he said it.
There was, yeah.
Bit of tongue in cheek, definitely. But I mean, I think he has improved from last year in the fact he's got 2 or 3 goals now. He always had the work rate last year, but I think his positional sense, and maybe not as a number 9, but when he plays him on the wing, has improved because he's been asked to play there more, and he's showing his defensive disciplines and stuff. You can't fault it as a team player, but yeah, it just isn't working for him, is it? But one player I thought the game did suit last night was Amir. He has took a bit of a knock in recent weeks, and those sort of games where it's a bit like a basketball match and it's up and down and the tempo and the pace is really high. Obviously, he's not been blessed with pace, but against an opposition where they're playing a bit slower and progressing up the pitch slowly, it let him get about and get into positions, and I felt he broke up a lot of their play and stuff. A couple of passes that went amiss, and he still maybe wants too much time on the ball. He's not got used to how other teams will press him when he's got the ball. But yeah, I think he had a much better game last night, and it was the style of the opposition that suited him.
Possibly, I'd have took him off when he did get took off, so I said take him off.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Might have just been me, I don't know. What I'll come to now, we'll come to Paul because we hadn't had a word with Paul yet. I was not happy last night, Paul. There was a certain player that used to play for us that I wasn't happy with. I was ranting about it, and there'll be a lot of people maybe that are watching this podcast now or watching it again or listening on the radio that might want to shout at me, and I'm not bothered. You can shout at me if you want. Jacob Greaves. You've got to have more class than he had last night for me. Going down and batting the floor like somebody had shot him from the stand, I think was unacceptable. And I don't think Joffrey gets a yellow card if he doesn't go like that. So that's me one thing. And then the second thing is to go celebrate their goal when you've played for a club, you've come through the academy, they've got you a move to the Premier League, you're on lots of money. For me, that's just, totally classless. I don't know what you think, Paul.
Well, I must admit, I don't think, usually played for a club, especially for a long while, the sort of maybe, the clap or the high five, the goal afterwards. But it was a bit over the top, I thought. But, he's not playing for us now anymore. So I suppose it's his way of carrying on. But yeah, I think it was a little bit disrespectful to the club, when they've brought him through the academy and everything else to sort of celebrate as, madly it was, and it just didn't seem right. I remember, I think we played Sunderland, forget the defender, but he didn't. He didn't. They scored early on against us, and he just sort of stood up in their half and just sort of accepted the goal. A bit of respect to the club that he'd been at, and I think that's the way to carry on. I know he's playing for them. I know he's getting wages off them. He wants them to win, which is fair enough. He's putting his heart and soul into making sure Ipswich do well, which you can't knock the lad for. But I think, you've got to show a little bit of respect. And I think most players do. And I think he wasn't quite as respectful as I'd like. But
I know he got booed, Paul, but the reason that he got booed was because of the way that he performed on the floor after he'd got that challenge by Joffrey.
Yeah.
Before that, he wasn't getting booed by any of the fans. There was no booing before that. The fans wasn't happy with what he did because he was classless in that point. So that, I think, he wouldn't have got booed and he'd have got clapped off by the fans at the end of the game if he hadn't have performed in the way that he did. And you would think a lad from Hull, you would think he would behave better than that. I was disappointed with Jacob Greaves last night, and he's gone down massively.
When you think about Doherty, when Greg Doherty was here, he come obviously with his team, Charlton. He got an applause before the game, and he got applause after the game.
Yes, he did.
And he'll have made some challenges. He'll have got some challenges on him, but he played it in the right way. He'd been here a long while, and he had a bit of respect for the club. And I do think Jacob Greaves never had that much respect. But saying that, he's not our player anymore. He's Ipswich's player, and I suppose his heart and soul's in Ipswich at the moment, so you've got to accept it. It's the way he wanted to carry on. But I'd like to have seen a little bit more respect for the club. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really bother me that greatly.
Let me just ask everybody else, Paul, what they think. Let me just ask everybody else what they think about the Jacob Greaves thing before we go on to last night. And what are you thinking, James?
I don't know if I'm going to be in a bit of a minority here, but I can kind of see both sides of the argument. Definitely, I understand fans' frustration, especially with the challenge you put on Joffrey. To me personally, I think he sold it to the referee. He's clearly picked up a few tricks in the Premier League, and the quality of the refereeing performance, everyone already knows it was pretty dire, to be honest. But it's up to the referee to give that decision, to give the card out. And yeah, he shouldn't have gone down like he did and play acted on the floor. But at the end of the day, he plays for Ipswich and he's got a winner's mentality. I think he's going to do whatever it takes to help his team win the game. At the end of the day, he's a professional footballer. He works for that club and they're trying to find the way back to the Premier League.
Still could show a bit of class though, James.
I did say, like, I can see both sides of the argument. I think as you rightly pointed out, for his hometown club and a club that's brought him through the academy, giving him his opportunity to go on and play in the Premier League and play at a club like Ipswich. But I think it's also quite easy and quite quick to forget that, we did get £20 million out of Greavesy, and that sale probably also did save the club from a pretty serious financial situation, as well as the Philogene money as well. So it's not exactly like, he's gone out and we've gained nothing from it. I mean, it probably would be a little bit more bitter if he'd left on a free or something like that. But, like I say, I can see both sides of the argument. And I think after he got booed, and then it was pretty much every single touch he had of the ball from that point onwards, probably until the end of the first half, where he continued to get booed. And then he did still have the respect, at least, to come over and clap the fans at the end of the game, which, I'll give him that, to be honest. Okay,
your thoughts, Chris?
Similar. I agree with a lot of James's points. The little tricks, you're going to do everything you can in the moment to win the game. We see our players going down with a little touch sometimes, don't we? So I agree with what James has said in the moment of the game, trying to win the game. But I agree with you, Adey. The way he over-celebrated, there's almost an unwritten rule when you leave a club, if you've been there for a long time and you've left on good terms, that you don't like celebrate like that, whether you've scored it or just he didn't even score it, did he? He over-celebrated and he was still at the back. So I agree with you there, and I think that's where he didn't show his class. He could have just given a clap, like I say, go and give the player a high five. But because of the combination of, the trick, the play acting, if you want to call it, on the field, the over-celebrating, he'd come back and the fans did cheer him and Philogene when they're announced before the game. And every time we ever come up against him ever again, he's probably never going to get that now.
No, he's not. He's not going to get any respect, I wouldn't have thought, at the MKM Stadium again. Jan, your thoughts?
I think a bit of naivety on his part, because that ain't the Jacob Greaves we know, and somebody doesn't change like that overnight. I mean, when he went down and the way he was eating the grass, everybody around us said, where's he got that from? That's not, and that got Joffrey booked without a doubt. But I think thereafter, every time he got the ball and he was booed, I think, as I said, naivety in him, that when he celebrated, because maybe he thought, well, if you're going to boo me, I'll do that. The only thing I have to take exception to is I'm not having it. It was the ref's fault. That referee wasn't that bad at all. I didn't think. I think we were looking at excuses if we're trying to say that we should have had a penalty, or that they were favoured, because I don't think he did favour them really. I just think we were poor. That team, for me, if you remember last week, I made some comment about our famous person that I don't like that you all love. That team is what we should have been like in that season where we had to play Sheffield Wednesday. They haven't lost anybody. They've got a cracking squad there. And even when we were holding them to 0-0, you knew they could just turn it on. And that, for me, they're the best squad. They've got the best squad in the league. So whilst the manner in which we lost it is extremely disappointing, I'm not so worried about the defeat as I am about the one on Saturday.
No, I can agree with you, Jan. I agree with what you're saying. I don't agree with the referee thing. I think the ref was bad, and Louise agrees. She said that the ref wasn't too classy either. Shep says that the Greaves was fouling our players constantly, and it took the ref till the end of the game to get hold of it. It certainly did. The ball was out of play for a throw, and he didn't get hold of that either. There was taking too long on the throw-ins. He didn't get hold of that. It was a poor referee from my opinion last night. I'm not saying that the referee the reason we lost the game, because the goal's been shown that it was onside, so it obviously wasn't the referee that made us lose the game. But I do think he was poor, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, that's my thought. Shep says he only clapped the fans when he got clapped first, so that was what happened there. And I think John says, no, where is he? Somewhere there. There he is. John says, well said, James. A good, balanced view. There's a few people that agree with me. Shep. Rebecca agrees with me as well, which I didn't expect. I thought people would shout at me for having a go at Greavesy today, but I think everybody felt a little bit not happy. Yeah, aggrieved with what happened. Yes, aggrieved. I'm not going to use that word because it was about it's the right word. You're right. Aggrieved. Paul, we'll come back to you because you was going to say some things about the game last night.
Yeah, I don't think they want our best game, but they didn't look anything major. To be fair, for the first 70 minutes or so, there weren't a lot in it. You didn't necessarily expect a goal. I mean,
can you agree with Oliver's point here? Then he said before Ipswich got their goal, we were bang average, and we did well to keep them quiet. The squad depth is much better than ours, and they was able to bring on like Jaden and Akpom as well.
Yeah, well, it does help. I mean, they spent 100-odd million to stay in the Premiership, and they've kept a fair few of the players what was in the Premiership. So they obviously are a good team, and they've got a good squad. But for 70 minutes, they didn't look as though there was going to be a goal. In fact, first half, we probably had more chances than them.
We did.
I mean, Joffrey's tried that one from the halfway line. We've hit the post. Joffrey's had one straight down the thingy's throat, and Joseph put one well wide. I mean, I can't remember them having a shot in anger. I mean, the goal, to be fair, I don't like to have a go at goalkeepers, but why hasn't Pando come for the cross? It wasn't a hard cross. It was a sort of looped cross. It could have come out and shouted to Charlie, who's my ball, Charlie, and caught it without a problem, I'm sure. And they all say Hughes lost his man. He's behind Hughes. It should have been Giles, if anybody, picking him up.
Yeah.
He's the smallest man on the pitch, just about. He didn't look smaller than me, which I found hard to believe. And he's got the header. Hughes missed the header. Fair enough, it just went over his head. I don't say he had a brilliant game.
Pando should dive as well for it, though, shouldn't he?
Well, I think Pando should come for it, and that's the problem with Pando. It doesn't really give the defence any confidence. He comes sometimes and punches, sometimes he catches, a lot of the times he stands on his goal line. And in fact, on Saturday, when they scored that, I think it was the second goal, it seemed to loop over, and we've got a defender on the line. And where's Pando? I don't think he's giving a lot of confidence to defence. You know, that time with the Jayu and he come out for the ball and passed it to one of the Derby players. I just think at the moment he's not doing that well in goal defence. He's a good shot stopper, but you need somebody who's the defence are confident in, and I don't think they've got a lot of confidence in him. You know, and I think that's one of the problems at the back, to be quite honest. As I say, as a shot stopper, he's good. He hung on to the ball too long yesterday. I mean, he gave him a corner. What if they'd have scored from that corner? You know,
you've got to be cleverer than that, haven't you? Let's just come to Chris, because Chris hasn't got long left before he's got to leave us for work, unfortunately. So, Chris, the defence this season is obviously our Achilles heel. You know, we've got the second worst defence in the league. Sheff Wednesday got the worst defence, and they've not had that. You know, they've had a lot worse happen to them than we've had happen to us. So, you know, what do we do?
I can't put my finger on it because, you know, barring, what is it? Well, it's Alfie Jones that's not there, and maybe McLaughlin playing at left back, but Giles has been playing pretty solidly. He has certainly improved defensively. Second half of last season, it was Hughes and Egan, or Hughes and Alfie Jones. He seemed to rotate them. And I think it was the last maybe 5 or 6 games last season. Defense was pretty solid, and I think Egan sort of got in instead of Jones for a lot of them. So it looks like there was a partnership growing. So it's predominantly the same back 4, back 5 if you include the keeper. So I can't put my finger on where it's going wrong. I don't know if it's. I don't want to compare Jurjevic to a certain German coach that we had, but we do seem to play that long ball and that counter attack a lot and commit men forward. So the only thing I can think of is maybe that. But the thing is also not all of our goals we're conceding are from, you know, transition sort of counter attacks. So it's something like last night's first goal. We had 10 men behind the ball and it was a looping cross that went over the back of a central defender. So I genuinely can't see or pinpoint a single thing, because the opposition teams are scoring a variety of different style of goals, headers, you know, shots through a crowd, from across. So yeah, it's a difficult one for me. Predominantly, like I say, there's only really Alfie Jones that's the missing player from it. That was a constant for the majority of last season.
Coming to you in a second, James. We'll just put some of these comments up because people are good enough to comment. So it would be wrong of me not to put some of these comments up. I've got one from John here that says the worry is last season's good defence kept us up. This season's poor defence can cost us badly. Sergey's saying it's individual errors, but those errors are costing us points, and they certainly are costing us points. Let's have a look what they're. We've had that one already. What's this one say? Yeah, considering that Greaves is a local lad, it was disappointing. I agree with that. Where's that one there? Here we go. Don't get why the National League ref officiate a championship game. He was sadly out of his depth and would have been better for him to have a regular League One or League Two for a little while. Yeah, I don't think the ref was that good last night. I don't think he controlled the game. Jan's shaking her head. We'll come to you in a second, Jan. I think he lost control of the game, to be quite honest with you. And, you know, let them get away with too many things for me. So I can agree with what Oliver's saying, to be quite honest with you. Jan, come on, you can have your say.
Well, I listened to. Did you listen to Swanee after the game? He was having none of it. He was saying, absolutely, you're clutching at straws if you're blaming the referee. And I'm with him. I just think, first of all, they have, I'm saying it again, the best squad in the championship.
Yeah, and they've got a better squad than us.
You know, and regardless of whether we were holding them, that's all we were doing. We were holding them. But going back to your other thing, I mean, you know, also I was a massive Alfie Jones fan. You know, he was the calm. You know, and I remember Hughesy once saying how helpful he was to him, because he technically he was an outstanding player. And for me, when he first came from Southampton, he was that holding midfielder, that defensive midfielder. If you weren't going to play him, that's what we're crying out for. He played the role that Seri played. That that's the thing. And not for me, all good teams are based on a solid defence, and I don't know what's happened to it. But
Well, I
equally,
mean, we've lost half of the defence from last
but I'm
season,
not
and
saying
that's
it's
what's
the
happened to it.
defence though, Adey, but because we're not defending as a team. I'm also, bizarrely, I'm a massive Kyle Joseph fan. I wish Stu would say to us, he's not a forward, actually. He's here just as because I think he's a damn sight better player than Crooks is at the moment. Crooks is offering us nothing.
I think a few weeks ago I'd have said Crooks is offering nothing, but if you watch last night's game, we was lacking Crooks being in there in the midfield.
But it was appalling on Saturday. Saturday wasn't good at all. And to get booked in added time, knowing you're that close to 5 bookings, that's just
maybe wanted a week off or a game off, Jan.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. But if I was in charge, if that's the case, you have to come to the games.
Oh yeah, no, I'd make everybody come to the games if I was in charge, especially with the amount of money that they're on these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the referee. I disagree with you. I think he lost control, especially with them. And Greaves not getting a card till he got a card. He'd made a few challenges before he got that card. It should have, and that's losing control of the game because it should have controlled their throwing times and all these things, and he never controlled any of that. They could take as long as they want over a throwing. If there was moving a step forward, it'd blow up and say you can't move a step forward. But how long he'd take, he wasn't really bothered. Didn't give a damn about how long they took. And to have 4 minutes added on at the end of that game, there was more than 4 minutes added time. It was poor. And I disagree with you, Jan. It was poor last night.
But we didn't help ourselves on that goal.
We're not clever. We're not clever enough. We're not clever enough.
But Jalo was that close to getting a second booking.
Yes,
they're all round saying, shut up. Somebody said it's onside near us. It was onside. Yeah. And then somebody in the behind Sergey, one of his assistants got booked. So presumably that booking goes to Sergey, doesn't it? So was he going to get banned again or what? Because
I reckon there's probably a chance of it. I mean, for me, we aren't clever enough. I think that, in a game like last night, when you look at it, I go on about this regular, and I'm going to say it again. You'll all know I'm a Louis Coyle fan, but I am a fan of him being our captain. I just don't think he's strong enough to be a captain. I never saw him once get in the referee's ear and have a word with the referee, and that is, you need somebody to do that, and that didn't happen again. And I'm frustrated with that because we need somebody stronger to captain the team, to get in the referee's ear, because ultimately it can get you extras, and it's all about small percentages in the championship of whether you win or you lose. And I think those small percentages is what other teams are getting when they're getting in the referee's ear and stuff like that. So I was a little bit frustrated with that last night. Anyway, I've talked probably for too long. Let's get a couple
before
more.
I go, Adey.
Go on, Chris,
I'm going to go in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Last night, and when there's been any sort of, I won't say opportunity, but when there's been a need to ask the referee what the call is, why, explain it, it's been Slater.
I was literally going to say that next.
Yeah.
Slater's the one. He's in the middle of the park, and he was round the referee. I know Jarlo did a little bit, but I think some of this was directed more at the linesman.
Yeah.
And obviously the bench were getting up, and they brought the iPad and trying to show. But if it was onside, I don't know what they're showing him. But it was Slater that was getting around the referee on 2, if not 3 occasions last night. And again, before I go, I agree with Jan. You can't blame the referee for the loss, but he was very inconsistent last night. So I can't blame him for the loss, but he had a poor referee performance. But yeah, for me, Slater has been getting around the ref and he's trying to influence decisions and at least defending his team. So yeah, just on that note, I'm gonna have to go, I'm afraid. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Good to see you tonight, Chris. Sorry that you've got to work. We'll miss you. See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
See you, Chris.
Bye.
Fish cake, bread cake agrees with Jan. He says the ref was fine watching it on the TV. What I'd suggest to you, fish cake, bread cake, is get to the game and you'll see it totally different, and then you can shout as much as I was last night. Because
he was definitely shouting. He was ranting at the end of the game.
I was very frustrated last night. Louise said that she's not blaming the ref for the result, but his decisions and blowing the whistle every 2 minutes is totally ridiculous. It was well out of his league, well out of his depth last night. Lee Walker said Ipswich had £1 million player to bring off the bench. We're relying on free transfers and loan players to bring on from the bench.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, James, before we came on air tonight, didn't we? We said that the lack of strength in depth is a problem at the moment, and that's what we're struggling for.
It's starting to filter through now. I think we've rode our luck sort of, I want to say the past sort of 5 or 6 weeks since McBurney's been out, since Lundstrom's been out. I mean, Miller coming back and getting injured again. Every time we've had a bit of quality come into the team, we seem to lose it again. And then we've got, realistically, I mean, Balumi, I know at the moment, is a bit of quality coming off the bench, but he's still getting back up to full fitness. And he's not, I don't really think in the games, especially against QPR and last night, he hasn't had enough time to get into the swing of things in the Championship and get a bit of a rhythm going and really impact games. You can still see Balloum is a quality player, but as you say, we haven't got our full strength side, and we've been managing to pick up points without that side. But now it's starting to show a little bit, and I think something Chris mentioned earlier was giving Amir quite a bit of praise, and I don't really agree with that. I don't think he actually does have very much quality into the team, and he's really static. He isn't mobile. I mean, I'm sat there watching him. It's when we're taking throw-ins and stuff, he's not trying to make himself available to receive the ball. He never seems to want to have, like, he wants loads of time on the ball when he has it, but he never seems to want to actually get past the ball and have to do anything with it. He seems a little bit scared to me, and maybe he does break up play a little bit, but I don't think he's any Jean-Michael Seri. He doesn't break up the play and spray passes about the pitch, like a proper number 6. And that's another point I'd make is I don't think Alfie Jones is the missing piece of the puzzle either. If we played him as a holding midfielder, like you was saying earlier, Jan, when he did come to us from Southampton, I think the reason we adapted him into a centre half was because his range of passing and his passing ability was never that great. That's why he kind of was the anchor in the defence under Rossignol, rather than Greaves being the one who came out and made all the passes and put balls about the pitch. So I don't know what it is at the moment, but like I say, when you bring in David Akintola off the bench comparing to Jayden Philogene, obviously it's gonna you're gonna see
difficult, isn't it? It's difficult, yeah. It is difficult. We said last night, Paul, you was talking a little bit about Amir there, James, and we said last night that we're sort of dying for Lundstrom to get back, aren't we?
Well, yeah, we've been a bit unlucky with injuries, haven't we, this season? We've never had a full strength squad for all the season. And I think if they'd have said at the beginning of the season you can be where we are now on the number of games with the number of points, I think everybody would have taken it.
Oh yeah,
I mean, on Saturday we was third, like at one stage when we was 2-1 up, which is way above where we should be with the squad we've got. As I say, Ipswich they spent over £100 million last season. They brought a lot of the players down with them. We've got free transfers and people, who haven't got a club and things like that, and we're still getting points. I think we've rode our luck, like James has said. Maybe it ran out a little bit this last week. I mean, at QPR, the first goal, we blocked it. It's felt a chair on. It's just in the air and he's blasted it in. And the last goal, it's a couple of ricochets and somebody, again, I don't know if it was offside or not, but it's in front of goal and scored a goal. We've had this bit of stuff going against us. We didn't play well on Saturday. I didn't think we was over good last night, but I don't think they was neither. It was just I thought a bit of a doer game, to be quite honest. A lot of the time, both teams more or less cancelling each other out. We had, a lot of our play was sloppy, but they didn't take, basically didn't take a thingy on that. The goal they got, as I say, we should have got rid of easily enough. But it's just how it goes in the Championship. You're going to have these runs where you're not going to win many times, and then you might have a run where you have 5 or 6 games and pick up a lot of points. And I think we've just got to accept it's not going to be a season, realistically, even though we're nearly up there, where we're going to be pushing for the top 6 unless we get all our players back banging on really well. And I don't think they're going to, as you say, Balumi, he'll need a few more games. Miller's probably going to be the same. Mataza, if he gets back, he's going to need a few games if he doesn't get injured again. Lundstrom and McBurney, they've been out for weeks. Realistically, Lundstrom was supposed to be on the bench on Saturday. He's not made the bench either day. So either they're keeping him back or he's got a little bit of a worse injury than we expected. McBurney the same. We just got to check it. This season was favourites to go down, and we're doing a lot better than we was expected to do. We still may go down. I don't think we will, but it's still a possibility. I want us to get to 50 points as early as possible. Once we've got there, we can probably relax a little bit and just see the season out. And hopefully next season we can get one or two players, who are a little bit better than what we've got.
Lee says,
I'm not unhappy with this season at all. I think we're doing okay.
Lee says we're a mid-table championship team, Paul, and he's probably right
he's
in what he said. We are probably that mid-table championship team. At the moment, we're in 8th position. We've got 25 points. We've all have took that from the position that was in before the start of the season with all the transfer restrictions in place. Look at me getting the words right and all them sort of things. So, it is good that we are where we are. And, Sarah says it well there. We are overachieving, which the manager should get a lot of credit for. I don't think the manager should get some credit. The thing that I was a bit perturbed about, that's the word that I'm going to use because it's not swearing. I was a bit perturbed about last night was that he didn't start with the right team for me. I think that we should have played not Joseph up front. I think we should have started, up front again with what's his name? Come on, somebody help me out. Destan up front again, because I think Destan has got a better goal scoring ability than what Joseph's got. I'd have started Joseph on the wing again, and I'd have played it that way if it was me. And although he says that he's not fit enough, me and you, I think, both said, Paul, that we'd prefer to see him for the first 60 minutes than for the last 30 minutes, because anytime he's come on in a game, he's not actually really affected the game and not really done that much. But when he's starting games, he seems to be a lot better. That might just be me. I might be wrong, but that's how I see it. You were saying something there, Jan.
Yeah, shout out for Gayabi as well. I thought, I've not been his greatest fan. I thought he did well yesterday, and even when he dropped him back towards the end, I thought he did well. I do think there's a great technical player in Ndala, but I just don't think he's tough enough.
I agree.
I would have started. I'd have put Destan up front again. I don't think he's prolific in terms of scoring goals, but then to have put Joseph on the wing would have been better for me. But the other thing I wanted to say was, Panda must be close to 5 bookings now, because he gets booked for time wasting most weeks. So he must be close to 5 bookings now. He's got, is it the 5th of December? He's got 2, is it 1 more game, or is it after the Middlesbrough game? So 2 more games. But he must be close. And regardless whatever we think about Phillips, if he's suspended, we'll have to play him, won't we?
Yeah, no, we will have to play him. I mean, we was talking about this last night on the way back out of the game, and we basically said, Paul, didn't we, that, you were saying we need another keeper, and I said there's the problem here. At the moment, I think we are up to our salary limit, so we can't actually sign anybody at this moment. We have 1 loan space available at the moment. So we need somebody to come in who's got on no salary into a loan place, or who hasn't got a club and who's going to come in. And is that goalkeeper going to be better than Pandor or Phillips? And that's the big question, isn't it? I think if we can let one player go, Casey Palmer, in January, then that might free up a little bit of wages and we might be able to bring a goalkeeper in. I'm not sure whether the chairman, being the chairman, will view the goalkeeper as one of the positions that he needs to change, though, James.
Yeah, I just don't. It is really hard, because you can tell he has had a much different season to what he had last year, especially with at the start of the season when the pressure was on him really to perform, because Rushworth was there in the background. No,
he's the one we miss.
Yeah, he's doing really well for Coventry as well, isn't he? Which is a little bit hard to say, but I thought Panda, he had a really good game against QPR, to be honest. I mean,
pulled off some good saves.
He has on and off games at the moment, and again, like you've just made the point, I just don't think that in the situation that we're in, we could do with strengthening in other areas of the pitch rather than in a goalkeeper. I think we can manage at the moment with the way Panda's playing. It is one of them things where, at the end of the day, we've not really got much wiggle room, and there's clearly other areas of the pitch where we need a bit more strength. Whether or not that is, as I mentioned earlier about we're struggling maybe in midfield, and I know a lot of people want him to bring Zambrano in. Obviously, that could be that player where we bring him in on loan under no salary because of the Maribor connection there. But I think we can better invest if we need a couple of reinforcements in January than looking at a goalkeeper, because, as you say, Phillips came from Rotherham, which he already has EFL experience. He's not exactly played, at National League level. He can't, as much as we're all a bit worried about him, the prospect of him having to be in goal, I just don't think there's going to be that much else out there for the salary we're going to be asking for.
No, probably not.
I haven't got any worries about him because I don't know about him really. I think he's not played because he played one game, didn't he, against Wrexham?
Yeah.
But if you listen to the Rotherham fans, though, what they've said is he'll come in for the odd game and he'll be player blinder, so you'll think you can play him and then he drops off. Well, maybe that's all we need. Maybe Panda just needs that little bit of a shove. He maybe only needs to.
Yeah, he maybe does need that shove. 5 weeks tomorrow till the transfer window opens for January. That's to let you know that. Yes, 5 weeks tomorrow. I'm going to get through a few more of these comments because people are good enough to send them in to us. Fish Cake, Bread Cake says, lacking quality and depth. We've been riding our luck and punching above our weights for a while. Onwards and upwards is what he says. And it's also, Enshep says, their number 5 was just the type of player we need at the moment. Sits in front of the defence and protects them. And that is the problem, I think, I think the distance between the midfield and the defence is too much at times. And I think that is where we concede some goals because there is so much distance, because sometimes we're playing so high to get your players to get back quick enough. They've got to be really, really quick. And, sometimes they're not quick enough to do that. Sarah said she'd rather have a 1-0 scrappy win than conceding two or three goals per game and relying on attack. And that's that thing, Sarah, of I've really enjoyed this season. I think this season's been more enjoyable to watch. And, we're in a better position than we hope to be in. So am I happy? Yeah, I probably am, actually. And I would probably rather us concede a couple of goals.
I'm with Sarah.
I knew you would be, Jan, and there's different ways of looking at it. I've enjoyed this season. Last season I hated. The season before I didn't really enjoy either. I know we finished just outside the playoffs. I thought it was poor to watch. I didn't enjoy watching it, and that's just my opinion. I was probably in the minority, and I would have got rid. I agreed with the chairman. I would have got rid of Liam Rossini when we got rid of him, to be quite honest with you, because I don't think he'd played enough quality, enjoyable football for me. And that's, I'm probably in the minority, and I realise that I'm not going to worry about it, but I think we are playing a lot more entertaining football this season. Rebecca says we've got quality to come back. Pandor stood out well last season, but there is no confidence between the defence and Pandor. And something has changed from last season to this season. I don't know exactly what it is. Well, I do know what it is. It's probably the defenders, and Charlie Hughes was probably a little bit better with Alfie Jones next to him. I probably wouldn't have played Shemi Ajayi last night. I would have played Egan again, because I think that Egan and Hughes have got a bit better understanding than Shemi Ajayi and Hughes have got, to be honest. But that might be, again, just my opinion, and I might be talking a load of
rubbish. Shemi.
If I am, then tell me. Enshep says he knows Hughes is a brilliant player, but he does make mistakes, which shows his experience. Maybe Egan and Ajayi, with their experience, could be a solid centre-back pairing. Does Egan go to the Africa Cup, or are they out of the Africa Cup of Nations now?
Egan's Irish.
Sorry, Shemi.
No, he's going. He'll be going.
Yeah, they're out.
He's going, is he?
So he'll go to the AFCON.
Yeah.
Will he? So he goes to AFCON. So to me, that's why you probably wouldn't use that partnership, just because we've only got a month left and we're going to lose him.
Adey, can I say then? Can I just say on Hughes? I agree with what somebody's just said. He is going to be a brilliant player, absolutely. Yeah. But he dives in, and sometimes it works.
Yeah.
But other times you think if you would have missed that ball then, and the other thing, Howie don't give away more penalties. He pulls the shirts all the time.
Well, he's been watching Jacob Greaves for that, hasn't he? I mean, I was really hoping we'd have a bit more in-goal action last night, because I think, was guaranteed a penalty if we had a bit more in-goal action. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough of it to make Greaves pull one of ours down.
So much criticism there's so much criticism of the likes of Coyle and whatever, and it's almost as though you're not allowed to be constructively criticize Hughes, and that he has got massive gaps in his game, which is understandable at his age and his level of experience and all of that.
Yeah.
But sometimes he's almost hero worshipped, and I don't know whether that's part of it. But there's a mistake in him, at least one every single game.
There is. It shows his experience.
Equally, there's a fantastic pass, and I'll give I absolutely love the guy. But
I like him. I've got a lot of time for him. I think he's good. I think that he's maybe not getting the right coaching this season, or something's different. I don't know, but yeah, he has got a mistake every game. Oliver says if we miraculously stop giving away goals, we'll have much more of a chance of staying in the playoff picture. It's not sustainable at all to keep conceding and trying to outscore other teams. And that is, we've all said that the problem this season is we're just not keeping the goals out. If we could keep the goals out, then we'd be in a lot better position than we are in. And being in 8th again, as I said earlier, we're not in a bad position. We are in a good position. We are on a bad run at the moment, though. Lost 3 out of the last 5 games. So, it's probably the worst run we've been on this season, I think, up to now. Do you think we should keep Bairstow when he comes back next season? I think, we'll have to see what he does in the next half of the season before we can make a decision on that, Sarah, to be quite honest with you. Louise says it's the first time I think we've conceded from a corner from Pandor taking... Sorry, I think it's the first time we've conceded a corner from Pandor taking too long. I think you're right. I have not seen him do that before, but he's got to be clever, hasn't he, Paul?
I think so. He's got to be a little bit quick. I mean, I like Pandor, don't get me wrong, but I think there's something going wrong at the defence. I don't think I don't think he commands his box well enough, and I think that needs to be changed a little bit. He's a bit inconsistent for me. I think defenders, like to know the consistency. When they're going to get their head knocked off by somebody like Peter Schmeichel or what have you, he comes and and it's just too inconsistent. He's a good shot stopper, and he's had some brilliant games for us. But I think he's been in and out this season too much. And the problem we haven't got somebody we'd want to put in his place. This is the thing. This Dylan Phillips, he's not going to take his place. And I don't think he's under any pressure. And you need him under a little bit of pressure, to get him to change the ways a little bit and maybe perform that 10% extra. As I say, to be honest, I think I think the defence are confident with Pandor. When the ball's over the top, he doesn't always come. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. You need to know what's going on as a defender. And I think that's one of the problems we've got. I say that's the first goal yesterday. He should have come for it all day long. It was a goal, his ball. All he had to do was say, "My ball, Charlie, collect it," and there's no goal.
Pandor's on 3 yellows. That's the only first time for time wasting, says Simon. So that's what he's on, 3 yellows at the moment. So we should basically get away with that because the cut-off's quite soon, isn't it? Sarah says that we think we should terminate Amir loan and get a better defensive midfielder. I don't know whether I agree with that. I think that he's not a bad player. I think that he's just been put in maybe more than we should have put him in because of the injury to Lundstrom at the moment. Lee says he thought the atmosphere was poor last night. You could only really hear the Ipswich Town song. Ipswich Town fans singing. I agree, it was a little bit flat a lot of times last night. I didn't hear us singing as a lot. I mean, I am in the East Stand. Yep.
2000 on a Tuesday night on that journey is absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was expensive QPR, but we only took 1,500 to QPR on a Saturday, which we made a weekend of it in London. But hats off to them. We don't take that kind of number, and it was quiet last night. It was sad, really, but yeah, and that's coming from me in the West Stand, and I do shout and sing, but nobody else does.
Simon says we don't want boring 1-0s. This is entertaining football, and I agree with you, Simon. I like the entertaining football. And Louise says that she agrees with Lee. The atmosphere was poor. It's a football library at times, and that's, I think that happens at home grounds because of the way they're set up these days. You just don't get the atmospheres that you used to, and that's why the away fans usually make more noise than the home fans do. Zocco says, how did Hughes mistime that jump? Basic centre-half's clearance. It was embarrassing. Yeah, I've got to agree. I think that he should have got rid of it, to be quite honest with you. And let's just get down to the last couple. Give me 0-0 on Saturday and a clean sheet. He'd be happy with Enshep. I think I'd be happy with that being away from home at Stoke on Saturday. It's going to be a very difficult game. I was debating going, but I'm staying at home. I can't be bothered to go down there, actually. And would have preferred a nicer game than having to play Stoke away from home on Saturday. Robbins has got them flying and is surprised that they've actually done as well as they have this season. 12:30 kickoffs. It's an early set-off for any fans that are going. And I'd have preferred somebody different to Stoke on Saturday. They are doing well, second in the league with 30
Lee
points.
Danbury's their head of recruitment, isn't he?
Yeah, Lee Danbury's their head of recruitment, but I think our recruitment's been bob on this year, to be quite honest with you, Jan. I think from where we are and what we've had available to us, we have done really well with recruitment this season. I don't think we could have done any better.
I agree with you. I agree, but I just think, he was maligned by so many, but actually he brought in 50
I think
grand.
he's actually been sacked, Jan, from Stoke.
Oh, has he? All right then, good. That's why we're here, because I hate Stoke. I hate Stoke and I hate QPR, and we're not doing 2 in a row, so that's why we'll watch it online.
So here we go then. We're getting on to the Stoke game, which is a 12:30 kickoff this Saturday. A 0-0 would be great result, and I would take 0-0 now. So that's what I'm going for, Sarah. Seeing as you're asking, what's everybody's Stoke predictions? We'll come to you first, James.
It's a tough one to call because they're like, basically, the way I'm going to put it is they're us if we were good. They score a lot of goals and they don't concede many. They've got a lot of clean sheets. And a lot of high-scoring games.
25 goals for, 12 against, James.
Yes, they scored twice as many as they've conceded.
Yeah, I mean, we've scored a lot of goals. We've scored 28. Yeah. We've had 29 against us.
I think just based on that, I'd be happy with a draw. Whether there's goals in the game or there isn't, a 0-0, I'd happily take 1-1, 2-2. I don't care. Whatever it is, I'll happily take a point from this game. That as someone mentioned earlier, they're flying high. Robbins has got them playing them good stuff, and they have really good wing play, and they've got a really good number 9, I'm pretty sure, as well. So, I'd be happy with a point 100%. I'm going to go with 1-1.
Jan?
Well, I'm not going to make a prediction, but I'd take a draw, but not if we were winning first, because that absolutely infuriates me. So Saturday, you can imagine what I was like on Saturday.
I can, yeah.
But, I'm going to say it again, no team wins anything by trying to I know you have to outscore the opposition. That's what it's all about. But playing the way we do, we need to sort the defence out. And I don't mean the back four. Collectively, I mean, we need to defend. And I don't think it's his way of playing, so you're not going to get that, Jan, but when McBain is playing, we defend differently.
Well, we said we're lacking quite a few players, and who knows when McBurney's going to be back. Anybody, if you've got an answer to that, you've got a minute to tell us. Paul, your prediction for Saturday, please.
Well, I'd take a draw all day long, but I personally think we're going to get beat. Unfortunately, I can't see us getting anything from Stoke, realistically. And we may do. I mean, they're
Simon agrees with you, Paul. He says 3-1 to Stoke. Lee Walker says that...
I don't want us to lose.
No, nobody does. Lee Walker says 1-1. Louise says 2-2. Lee also says that, when I can get to the right one, sorry, it's a 7:45 set off for him on Saturday. And Enshep said that he's in the north stand and he must say that the lads need us behind them. We don't get the atmosphere going. It's quite disappointing. That's it. Here we go. Lee's saying Borough game is when McBurney should be back. Let's hope that that's right, Lee, because we do need him at the moment. It's been a good Tiger Talk tonight. We've had a lot to talk about. We're back next Wednesday, 7 o'clock here on Humberwave Radio and to Hull and Back Podcast. Got to say thank you to the karmascore.co.uk for sponsoring the show. And if you are looking to buy or sell a car, then please use those. Get a valuation off them. If you're looking to buy or sell your van, you can do exactly the same as that. We appreciate their sponsorship. John's saying 2-0 to Stoke. Is afraid we can't stop the opposition scoring. Unless Joffrey's on fire, we're stuffed. And that's going to probably finish us off tonight, apart from Sarah saying, up the Tigers. And that's it. I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming on, James.
Cheers. See you later.
See you later. See you, Jan.
Thanks very much. Up the Tigers.
Cheers, Paul.
See you, Adey.
See you next week. Have a good one. All the best. And we'll see you next week.